So people ask this question a lot. We are live streaming a genocide. How is the world still allowing this genocide to happen?
When people ask why genocide continues in front of the entire world, the answer does not lie in morality or ignorance alone. The answer lies in the reality of imperialism. It is in the ruthless division between the imperial center and the colonized nations. In the West, politics has been reduced to something like a hobby. People there can join a protest and then return to their lives of comfort. For them, political action is optional, but for colonized people, politics is never about option. Resistance isn't a hobby, it's a question of survival. Now, Western taxpayers, they directly fund war and genocide, yet very few are willing to make any real sacrifice to oppose it. Why? Because the government feed them on the crumbs of super profits stolen from the colonies. These crumbs are just enough to keep the working class in the core quiet, to convince them that they can live comfortably without overturning the system. This is why we see so much passivity in the core and such unbreakable resistance in the periphery. The working class in the imperialist nations has been corrupted by imperialist spoils, while the working class of the colonized world face the full brutality of empire every day. For them, struggle isn't an abstract idea, it is life itself. To the Palestinian under occupation, resistance is the condition of existence. One either resists or one perishes. This is the fundamental distinction between the core and the periphery, between those who live upon the plunder and those whose lives are plundered. This is also why propaganda and spectacle are so powerful in the core. Images of Palestinians being bombed and killed become consumed as entertainment. They no longer appear as human beings but as mere fragments of suffering on a screen. This dehumanization is necessary for imperialism to survive. Now we must understand that the calm in the imperial core rests on violence in the colonies. The silence of the workers in the West is brought with the blood of the oppressed people. The working class in the imperial core cannot escape its responsibility. It is not enough to raise slogans or hold symbolic protest while continuing to build the bombs, the planes, the ships that kill the colonized. If the worker continues to tighten the bolts on the war machine, then they are not neutral, they are being part of the war. What then must be done? The task of the workers in the core is clear, that is to turn their position inside the imperial machine into a weapon against it. If you work in the arms factory, you must sabotage production. If you transport goods, you must block the shipment of weapons. Not empty words, but material action that weakens the capacity of your own ruling class to wage genocide. Protests have their place, protests are important, but protests alone cannot break imperialism. Direct action by workers, strikes, sabotage, refusal to produce and transport instruments of death. That is what actually hurts the ruling class. It means targeting the centers of capitalist power not by asking politely for reform, but by making it impossible for corporations and government to operate as usual. The revolutionary cause has never been the path of comfort, it's a path of sacrifice. To fight for liberation is to accept risk, to stand unshaken in the face of repression, and to reject the cowardly demand for certainty before we act. If we wait for guarantee, we will wait forever. Our enemies powerful, yes. They command armies, wealth, and the instruments of terror, but power does not mean invincibility. Every empire in history has came to be eternal and every empire has fallen. The Al-Aqsa flood shattered the myth of Israel's invincibility, reminding the world that even the most advanced weapons are useless against people who refuse to bow.